Yeah, I might just get the formalities out of the way first, and then we can just kind of start talking.
Cool.
I think we are now live officially.
Cool.
So, hey guys, welcome to the first ever Trek After Dark live stream. Yes, we are not in our Trek Live official uniforms. They're technically off duty, and this is kind of what this live stream is kind of about. It's kind of off
Yep.
duty discussion. With me, as always, Bill. So,
How you doing?
yeah. Now, I'm guessing you guys noticed the new graphics and see that chat. Hopefully, chat works. But just know, just to be use appropriate language and don't. You guys know what to do. So,
Yeah, behave.
yeah.
Given it's on the record now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hopefully, chat works.
yeah.
Where have you watched any Trek lately?
I have. I watched a lot of Trek this weekend. It was kind of like my return to like getting back into the swing of it. I watched. Trying to think back. I started Thursday night and I watched Investigations from Voyager, which is like I want to say the 18th episode of the second season
Mm.
through the end by the end of the weekend. Um, so through Basics Part One, and for Deep Space Nine, I watched from Rules of Engagement, which is around the same point, like around 17, 18 episodes into the season,
Mm-hmm.
through Broken Link, the end of season 4. So I got a lot watched, which felt good after a few weeks of not watching any.
Yeah.
To really get to delve in and
Mm-hmm.
watch a good chunk of it. A lot of good stuff, some weak stuff, nice little mix of
Yeah.
you know, all kinds of episodes, all kinds of quality. You know, they can't all be good, I guess, especially when the seasons are as long as they were back then.
Yeah.
Um, what about you?
I've been powering through Voyager. I have 2 episodes left. Um, so I just watched Homestead, I think it was. The one with
Wow,
Neelix's
you're killing it.
Neelix. He leaves the ship. Spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
He does.
yeah. So I'm excited to. This kind of whole thing kind of worked out perfectly because I am like ending Voyager and we're just talking about finales. So I'm excited to
Yeah.
kind of incorporate that when I'm watching into to the main show.
Mm-hmm. It's good timing. That's for sure. Yeah. How do you feel about Voyager kind of winding down, like the last chunk of episodes of Voyager? Like, you getting any vibes? Any like just
Um,
overall thoughts?
there's a lot more visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's definitely a lot more feel good episodes. Um, like kind of not feel good episodes, but kind of episodes that make you think, like Natural Law and Friendship Warning. What was I gonna say? But yeah, there's a lot more camera movements. Not to get into the nerdier side of the
Mm-hmm.
um, show, but there's a lot more camera movements because opposed to like earlier in the show, it was just like stagnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing caution to the wind with like, I guess the end coming up. Maybe they got a little more daring, a little more uh, willing to take risks compared to what they were used to doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there's some good episodes in that run. I really love the Void. I really like
Oh,
the
the Void was good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I really like that one. I like the Workforce two-parter. Um, I like Author a good bit.
Yeah.
Enterprise Extra hates that, just for the record, and says that it's the worst episode. I think he says it's other than Star Trek Five, it's like the worst outing of any Star Trek ever, which I just don't get at
Authors.
all. Yeah,
Huh. That's weird.
yeah. He despises.
Yeah.
Um, I love it. I think it's great. I I don't really. I know what he's saying. He says that the doctor's like way out of character, and I guess you can make a case that he is, and to some extent, but totally works for me. I love the message behind it, and that it's kind of like a little weird extension of the Measure of a Man. Tackling, you the rights of non-traditional individual, whether it's artificial data or hologram in the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But
I just like the stream health is sucking right now. So guys, I'm sorry. um,
that stinks.
yeah, but I also like to give a shout out to like Rob and all our you know crew members across the pond tuning in really late at night. So
Yeah, seriously.
definitely thanks for coming. Even if just stopping by for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're not going to be a zombie at work tomorrow, Rob.
Yeah.
I appreciate your dedication. Um, I see Hope is. Let's see. Hope is saying that she watched a handful of TNG season 3 tonight. What episodes did you watch, Hope? I'm curious. And I guess Rob came in after you had said exactly where you were in season 7, Dan. So why don't you tell him exactly
Okay, so
where you left off?
exactly my last episode that I watched was Homestead. So that's like 2 episodes before,
Yeah, like right at the end.
right at the end. I think 19. Or, yeah, 19.
Yeah.
Or no, that's 22. 22.
22.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
was
so
thinking
you're right.
19 was author.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really liked Workforce too. Workforce was really, 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 really. I liked it. For
hmm
some reason, I'm always like to see Janeway and just like the romance side of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was fun. Hopefully,
It's got really good production values too, like totally different looking um, set design, and like it really um, puts you in that place on that planet. I think it does a nice job of kind of building that world.
yeah.
You spend a lot of time on it, so
Hmm.
I think it's key there. Hope says she watched The Defector through Deja Q. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
The Defector's amazing. I love Deja Q. Um,
Hey Ross, thanks for tuning in. I know it's
welcome, Ross.
yeah.
I agree, Rob. I think that's like an all-time great Voyager moment, if you ask me.
That was like I was kind of getting emotional like when like he walked out of the turbo lift and he's like walking down and all the crew
hmm
members are waiting for him and stuff like that.
Yeah, that episode always makes me when I get to it. For all the times I kind of get, I like Neelix. I'm not a Neelix hater by any means, but for all of the times that Neelix irritates me, and you know, for all his imperfections as a character, I guess, like all the things that he gets ratted on for, um, when it's time for him to go, you really kind of realize that he was really key to their success up to that point. Like that crew needed him. Um,
Yeah, you don't know what you got until Neelix
it's
walks
yeah,
off into
exactly.
the
You really
sunset.
that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah,
It's a perfect reference because it's true. Like as he's leaving, it really does at least hit me that he is really key, um, key member of the crew, kind of the glue that keeps it all going. And as corny as he would get sometimes, and over the top as he might have been in moments, he's kind of um, it's kind of great quietly.
yeah, yeah. Did Workforce need to be a two-parter though?
You're fresher on it than me, Dan. I
Um,
haven't seen it in a little while.
I don't think so. I think they're definitely
Mhm.
nearing the end of the season, and it was really, um, I don't know. It had, I don't know. I don't think it needed a two-part, but think they kind of fill the gaps in and be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember it um, rubbing me the wrong way in that manner.
Yeah.
Like my memory of it is not watching it going, man, this is like totally stretched thin. Um,
Yeah, it's like they didn't like drag it on, but I could see where it could have just been a single episode for sure.
yeah, it could have been. It certainly could have been
Mm-hmm.
built as a single, and no doubt, like you just said, they're kind of up running out of time, like running out of well, probably running out of ideas, running out of episodes to shoot, and like it seems like by everything I've ever read, they always were, on these shows, having to do so many that they took an opportunity to fill two with a pretty big idea. It's a bigger than usual
Mm-hmm.
story, I guess, because it really does take the characters out of their element and
Yeah.
puts them in a new environment, and
Yeah.
it's a bigger problem to solve than like a traditional episode would be.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm with Ross. I think Homestead should have been a two-parter. Um, I just think that the whole departure for Neelix is just so rushed. It's like,
mhm.
I mean, I knew what was gonna happen, but at the same time, I was like, oh, it would have been nice to say goodbye to like have a special goodbye for each crew member and stuff like that.
Yeah, it definitely is rushed. Yeah, and I find it's really noticeable in an episode like that because it's such a final ending.
Yeah.
But when I watch these episodes, I think it's almost unavoidable in a lot of ways. Like even going back to TNG, I think a lot of the episodes do have sort of rushed endings, and I think that's just kind of a product of having to wrap it up in the 45-minute
Mm-hmm.
limit. With serialization, you can stretch these things over hours and hours, and
Yeah.
you don't have to feel rushed in every ending. But in that format, I think it's pretty tough. Rob's saying that he's asking if it's cutting out for anybody else, which is not a good
Yes, it
sign.
is. The stream. I don't know what's up with it, guys. It's telling me that the stream health is low, so I'm trying. I don't know what else um, to do. I've got my internet open right now. My internet's fine. I just think it's YouTube. I'm guessing. Um,
Hope says audio is fine, but it's choppy. It went down for 10 seconds and came back up.
yeah,
So,
it may
yeah.
be just I don't know, stream quality. If you guys can hear audio fine, it's I guess I don't know what to do. Um,
Yeah.
I also liked Human Error. I don't know if you have any thoughts on Human
Human
Error.
error. Um, I know what it is, and um, I
Some
have mixed.
characters kind of felt like out of character, I guess. Um,
Yeah. I am not a huge fan of the uh, Seven of Nine Chakotay pairing. I think it feels kind of arbitrary. I think Human Error does a nice job of maybe setting up why Seven would be kind of intrigued by it.
yeah,
Um, I don't want to get worse for you, but in Endgame they kind of bring it back a little bit, and I'm not a huge fan of what they do there.
yeah,
But it reminds me of Worf and Troy in season 7 of TNG, which also to me feels really kind of running out of ideas and just kind of trying to throw things at the wall to see what sticks and trying stuff that's new and different
yeah,
without really. It just doesn't work for me. But I love what it does for. I love the idea of Seven having to basically decide to risk her life by pursuing these emotions, and um, it's putting her in a bad spot to do this and to push to be more human. It's
mm-hmm,
putting her life at risk, or to kind of keep the status quo and be satisfied with what she is. To kind of that decision that it puts on her is interesting, and I wish there was more time to develop it. I wish they played that out a little more beyond that episode.
yeah.
Um, Ross says it's choppy. That stinks.
Yeah, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah. For those of you who are there for our regular episodes, on the weekends typically, is it ever like this? Is this a first where it's been like, is this significantly more troublesome than a typical stream is for us? Just out of curiosity.
Because it just as far as like I have some analytics and stuff on my end, and it's like
You can see it.
It's on the weekends. It's like green, and then right now
Mm-hmm.
it's like between yellow and red, and it's just sucking.
I wonder if it's just like a higher traffic time for
I'm
for you.
guessing that must be what it is. Yeah, I don't know what else. No, and I'm not as technically inclined. I mean, I know a little bit, but it's I don't know what else I can do for it.
Just keep us posted on it, guys. If it's getting really bad, it's worse. Rob says.
Yeah.
If it's really bad, let us know. And there's not much we can do, like Dan said, from our end of things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Other than maybe to try a different time, let next time maybe toy around with that to see if it's any better. Never this bad.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is.
Yeah. So my plan is to once I finish Voyager, to start another show. Do you guys have any guesses of what show I'm gonna start next? And then I can kind of talk about my expectations and stuff like that.
It's a show that I'm very eager to hear his renewed opinion on. Hint. Very eager indeed.
Yeah. Hopefully, the stream.
They probably cut out.
Yeah. Rob is correct. It is Enterprise. Yep. So the next show I will be rewatching is Enterprise. So,
I'm more excited about it than Dan is.
Yeah. So I've
been watching it.
Yeah. So just gearing up, I kind of just trying to remember like how I felt after I finished it, and so I'm definitely really excited to go through it kind of with. Because when I first went through it, it was just like, I'm just watching it. But now I'm just going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and I know a lot more about stuff. And so I'm definitely excited about it. Well, not as excited, but...
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
It should be a fun experience, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. Dang, we had a good... It was green for a while, and then it just went red.
It stinks. We have an Enterprise fan in Hope. She says, "Hey, yay, Enterprise!" Yeah. So I'm not alone. Knew there were other people out there who love Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Team Enterprise, yeah. Rob, you've never watched it all the way through. How much of it have you seen? Do you bail in the middle of season 2 when it's in its rockiest? Power through and get to season 3. More importantly, season 4. Yes. I've said it before on this, and I'll say it again. I'm telling you, if Enterprise had 7 seasons and maintained the quality that it was on the trajectory for after 3 and 4, be looked at very differently. And the reason I'm really confident saying that is if you cut TNG or DS9 or Voyager off after 4 seasons, I think they look a lot like Enterprise with 2 kind of rocky, inconsistent, growing pains laden seasons before it kind of starts to find its legs and get going. Um, Ross, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Enterprise Season 4 does explain the Klingon forehead ridges. Yes.
Yes.
Which I had mixed feelings about at the time. I kind of grown to just accept it. It doesn't. It is what it is. I accept the explanation. I like that it's built into the series and it builds on things that happened in Enterprise before. Um, but I was pretty content to kind of leave it as is without an explanation. Um, got talked about last week. I choose to look at TOS kind of like a stage play, and it's suspension of disbelief, as Adam, who's in a lot of our streams, put it, and just kind of put it on myself to fill in the gaps and imagine those head ridges are there in TOS. That's kind of how I've looked at it for years. But
Yeah.
um, I'll take their explanation, no problem. Why did Enterprise not have 7 like the others?
Was it
That is a big question.
funding and popularity, I'm guessing?
Yeah, the ratings were really weak. It was on a dying network, UPN. If you're young, like in Dan's, wheelhouse age group, probably don't even remember UPN. Um, yeah, so it was on a network that was on its way out, and there were all kinds of politics in the studio. At the time, Paramount still owned all of Star Trek, um, and now Paramount owns the film rights to Star Trek. CBS owns the TV rights to Star Trek.
That was the
So
great divorce.
the Great Divorce happened, and that was all in the works right around the time Enterprise ended. So there were all kinds of things that played into it. Enterprise had a bad reputation because the fans didn't really accept it at the beginning. The ratings died pretty quickly. It had kind of a taint to it. The studio wasn't totally behind it. The network was dying, so it had all these things going on around it that kind of brought it down, I guess. Um, TV changed around it. Yeah,
That's a great point, Ross.
I think I think the network is really the big thing. I think being on a network that was just really in a nosedive and was gone the next season. Enterprise was canceled, in 1 year in 2005, and UPN was around for one more season after that, and then it was gone. It merged with WB, and that's what the CW is now. The CW is. I'm sure I'm boring everybody who doesn't live in the United States, and these networks mean nothing to you, but this is what happened here. Networks merged and changed, and management changed, and here we are. Enterprise short, um, wrongfully. Enterprise was great.
Yeah, so guys, we didn't notice the Discovery episode just went live, so we apologize for kind of the
Yeah,
technical difficulties in that. But I also want to hear, because Bill and I haven't really talked about this yet, but um, uh, Ted Sullivan is one of the writers on Discovery, and I'd like to hear your thoughts about what he tweeted about this week.
yeah. Somebody, I don't have it right in front of me, but somebody asked him if it's a reimagining, a reboot, or a what was the word that was used? It was a faithful prequel of some sort, and he very affirmatively said that it was a faithful prequel to TOS, um, and that's why he's a long time fan. He's loved Star Trek forever, so he says. No reason not to believe him. He's very excited and really one of the best follows on Twitter. Highly recommend everybody check him out.
Yeah, he's just
Um,
hilarious on Twitter.
yeah, he says that he, as a longtime fan, is excited about it and is on board because of what it is as a prequel, a true prequel to TOS. So, um, a lot of positive vibes coming from that for me, at least.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to hear your thoughts because I don't know. I feel like you being a Enterprise fan, do you think that's like kind of like backstabbing or poking fun at Enterprise, or
I
What do
didn't
you
even
think?
think of that.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I guess the question would have to be. I don't know if that question was asked with that in mind. Like, are
Yeah.
you going to be a for real prequel?
Yeah.
Unlike Enterprise.
Yeah.
Um, the way I read the question was more along the lines of there people, across the internet and on social media have been speculating that it's a quote unquote soft reboot. It's a reboot in all but name. It's going to reimagine the way everything looks and be completely different in all but name. And that I saw that question as is that what you guys are doing, or is it going to be an actual for real reboot or a for real prequel? Like it's really going to honor. Um, and I respect Enterprise for the prequel that it is. I mean, I think given the circumstances and given the creative kind of constraints that come from trying a prequel in such a detailed, history-laden universe that Star Trek is,
Mhm.
I think it works pretty well. There are a couple hiccups in terms of like continuity for the real continuity, you know, uh, fans that like really at that line and want it to be absolutely perfect all the time.
Yeah.
There are things in there that make people like that crazy. Um, but for the most part, I think it works pretty well. I don't think there are too many complete deviations that at least make my head explode.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I was happy with it no matter what. I mean, I'm glad to hear that's the vibe they're going for, and I think it's the right way to go. To view it as a real prequel to TOS in spirit and in every way that's possible without compromising the production in a way that makes it look, you know, ridiculous. You have to push forward like we talked about last week and use today's production values,
Yeah.
and
And
not
that's
be
how.
tied to.
Yeah, that's kind of how I viewed his tweet. As like, he's definitely excited. But part of me was like,
Yeah,
was that kind of him poking fun at Enterprise? I don't know.
it could be. It
Yeah.
definitely could be. A lot of people are not huge on Enterprise at all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of resistance to it and a lot of resentment still, I think, after all these years. So, either from the questioner or from Ted Sullivan himself, it's certainly possible that there was some little jab there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so a lot of discussion on Welcome Jordan, who just came in and shared that he finished season 3 of Enterprise very quickly, from what he's told me, and is through the first quarter of Enterprise season 4. And he's impressed.
Mhm.
Some interesting talk about that.
Yeah.
Rob asked us if either one of us has ever been to a Star Trek convention before. And Dan,
I
have
have
you?
not. I wish. I really want. Um, I don't know. It's just been tough because there's only a few spots, a few big hot spots, kind of in my neck of the woods. And then obviously I have kind of a lot. I was in a time in my life where I had a lot more going on and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But hopefully one day I'll be able to go to one, which I'm really excited for.
Yeah, I haven't been to one since I was a kid. I used to go
Mm-hmm.
fair, not all the time, but they would have them. I want to say about 45 minutes from where I live, pretty regularly, maybe once or twice a year. And my dad would take me when I was pretty young,
Yeah.
so I have memories of it. I remember seeing Walter Koenig. I remember seeing James Doohan. I remember seeing um, Marina Sirtis and Terry Farrell. Like I have all these memories in my head of doing it, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
really. It was a totally different experience than anybody who's been to one recently and as an adult. So I would love to go again.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that are in the Philadelphia area, which is where I live in the Philadelphia area. So hopefully in the near future, um, I'll make that happen.
Yeah.
What about you guys? I'd love to hear your convention stories if
Yeah.
you've
I'm
been
sure
to.
there's some good ones for
Um,
sure.
yeah, if you've gone to any of the big ones or any of the small ones, and you've had interesting experiences, please share them. I love that stuff. Um, What else do we have here? Real quick, Hope says that she hasn't looked at a lot of the Discovery information yet, and she's going to be going in mostly blind. That's probably a good way to go.
That's probably the best way to go.
Yeah, because it's easy to get
exhausted.
Yeah,
For sure, especially with all like analyzing every little thing. So I think it's definitely good to come kind of in open mindedness and not knowing what to expect.
definitely. Yeah, part of me, I try really hard with Beyond to stay completely like outside of the spoiler territory and try to avoid as much as I could. And I did for a long time. I can't say that I did the whole way up to it. I knew some stuff going in, but it definitely added to the excitement for me. I wasn't, uh, I wasn't burdened by negativity that was surrounding it all over the internet. I kind of tried to avoid as much of that as I could.
Yeah.
I saw some stuff on Twitter, but the way I've experienced being active in Star Trek social media over the last couple of years is that Twitter seems to be more positive, at least because that's who I follow. I follow people who tend to be more positive about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go off of that, if you go into things like, forums that are out there, Facebook communities, Reddit,
like it can get into the toxic side of it. And
yes, turns into a cesspool of negativity.
Yeah.
So I tried to avoid as much of that as I could. I just didn't want to hear all that stuff, and it definitely helped keeping a positive outlook going into it for sure. I'm trying to do the same kind of thing with Discovery, but it's harder because it's exciting and I want to know as much as I can without spoilers. I just want to know what's going on with the production. I want to know who's involved and what they're doing and where they are and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. It's tempting to try to get as much of that information as out there. Jordan says Enterprise definitely doesn't deserve the hate it gets. I'm glad to see that you're being lured into the positive side on Enterprise.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we do rag on of all of the shows, but at the end of the day, it's still Star Trek, and we still
Oh yeah,
no matter what.
definitely.
Yeah.
Some Rogue One talk in there too. Have you seen Rogue One yet, Dan?
I just watched it this weekend for the
Yeah.
first time.
What'd you think?
It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I heard mixed reviews. Some people hate it. Some people thought it was the best Star Wars that's ever been made. Um, I love the universe. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit that, and I like there's similarities that I can find in um, that I can kind of connect to the other movies and stuff like that. But um, yeah, I think I liked Force Awakens a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. Have you seen it?
I have. Yeah, I saw it. I haven't seen it in a while. I saw it in theaters twice actually. Not intentionally. I got dragged the second time.
Yeah.
Not like I didn't. I wasn't kicking and screaming, but it wasn't.
Forcefully pulled into it.
It wasn't. It wasn't completely my choice. Yeah. Yeah. Like a 5 out of 10 on that scale. Like, not quite getting dragged, but
yeah,
definitely wasn't my call.
yeah.
I enjoyed it for what it was. I like the idea of it more than maybe the execution of it. I like the idea of taking a standalone look at an unexplored part of the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Star Trek would do that. I've said that before on here too. I wish the Star Trek movies would think outside the box a little bit and try that. I liked it more the first time than I did the second. I appreciate how bold they went with visual effects in terms of recreating old characters.
Oh yeah, that's something I could talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I watched it with kind of a group of people, and I asked, "Did you notice anything?" And they're like, no, what? And I was just like, yeah, I kind of explained it to them, and I think they do a really good job. I just don't think like the skin and hair isn't quite there yet.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say. Like
Yeah.
I appreciate the idea, and I appreciate that they're pushing the envelope, and
Hmm. Yeah, as a
it's
visual
it's
artist, I appreciated it, but yeah.
yeah. I don't like exactly. And I'm not a trained eye like you. It's not something I've studied,
Hmm.
formally. It's not something
Yeah.
I've done practiced. But I didn't think it was entirely convincing. I thought it kind of took me out of it.
Hmm.
Um, it's well done, but it's not quite perfect enough to just pass like unseen. But
Yeah.
I guess if people that you watched it with, if they're not hardcore Star Wars fans
Hmm.
and they don't know that that's an actor who's been dead for 25 years,
Yeah.
in the case of Peter Cushing,
Yeah.
um, then maybe it worked okay. If it didn't scream obvious, then I guess it was successful to a degree.
Yeah. I mean,
But
even with the lip syncing and stuff, it was kind of just a tad off, and also,
yeah,
yeah, like I said, the skin in there. But they're definitely making strides for sure. So I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. We're probably just 15 years down the road. We're just gonna be watching, you know, not real actors. Everyone's gonna
yeah,
be a voice actor now.
yeah, and that's certainly that's a controversial topic for a
Yeah.
lot of that's a opening up a whole can of worms. Um, you know, for come bringing it back to Star Trek a little bit. What's stopping them from we could have brand new TOS with all those actors again. Um,
Yeah. But the
there's
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like I appreciate when they actually do the makeup and the stuff like that, especially in Beyond. Like I love the makeup in there, and like especially going through Voyager. Like I kind of enjoy, um, seeing the artist's work as far as like makeup and costumes and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's a fine line that they're gonna walk for
hmm
sure later
definitely.
on down the road.
Yeah, so I was, I think when I saw it, I think I said to my friend like, 3 stars out of 4, for Rogue One. Just kind of wrapping that up. Like,
Yeah.
I enjoy it for what it is. I'm not as emotionally invested in the Star Wars stuff as I am with Star Trek, so I don't get quite as wrapped up in it, and I'm not as emotionally bought into it. I enjoy it. So for what it was, I dug it
Hmm.
for 2 hours of entertainment.
Hmm. Yes, Ross, season 4 TOS CPU actors. Yep.
Could
Yep.
happen.
Yep. Yeah.
Nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
Going back a little bit, and I am seeing some cool convention stories. Rob got some autographs from Kate Mulgrew, Alexander Siddig, and Chase Masterson in 2003 in London. That's cool.
Yeah.
It makes me jealous. I wish I could do that. Um, Hope's talking about a convention in the D.C. Maryland area, which actually isn't that far from me. So maybe that's an option.
Yeah.
More Comic Con type.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I know there's stuff that's in my general vicinity that I could get to.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of making it happen. Jordan's lukewarm on Force Awakens and Rogue One.
Yeah.
Conceptually, Rogue One is great, but I feel a lot of
Well,
yeah,
I don't. Yeah, we can
yeah.
figure. What was it? Force Awakens. I don't want to get into it too deeply, but I feel like it was kind of just like a
Retelling.
retelling of kind of the same story.
Yeah,
But it's what the fans wanted, so and a lot of them enjoyed it.
they did.
Yeah.
Mhm. Star Trek Land in Disney World would make me extremely happy, since I'm in Disney World all the time.
It should be in
Talk.
San Francisco though.
It should be in San Francisco.
Yeah.
That would be more natural home. Rob, you're building up the Eagle Moss ships collection too. That's interesting. Um, I have that. I have Eagle Moss, and I love them, but I have a bone to pick with them. A major bone to pick with them. Very frustrating to me. I jumped on pretty late in the game, just around the beginning of the year. I subscribed, and for the first 20 issues, I want to say maybe 1920, I had no problems at all. They were coming on schedule, and every ship that I was expecting, like every ship in the line, there was no skipping. And then right as the Enterprise E was like on schedule to come, it was temporarily out of print, and it skipped, I want to say 9, and I got like the Mainline freighter from Voyager instead, which is cool. I've never had a Mainline freighter before, and it's awesome. Like, there's no doubt. I'm not hating on the Mainline freighter, and I've gotten a lot of really cool ships, but there's a ton of them that are out of print from that area, from that period, like that middle range of ships, and a lot of them are the really good ones. I didn't get. It skipped right over the E. It skipped over the Delta Flyer. It skipped over the Enterprise B. It skipped over the Enterprise C. It skipped over the Constitution, Classic, Enterprise. It skipped over the JJ refit, like special issue. So I was a little frustrated with that. I am a little frustrated with that. I have noticed that sometimes it backtracks and something that was out of print before will come. So that's encouraging, at least. But they are great. They are really good products, and I would recommend them to anybody. They're awesome. Really well built, really cool. Let's see. That's my beef with them.
So will they promise you those ones, or they're just like,
Yeah, I called them when they skipped the E. I called like right away. I was like,
yeah,
"What is going on? You can't do this to me."
yeah,
And they said it's temporary. They are doubling back to some extent, I guess. And when they're made available, they'll jump into the run. Like they'll always go back to something that was missed if it's available. And that, like I said, that's happened once or twice. I've gotten a couple that have been.
okay. So if like I was to start, if I were to get one,
Mhm.
um, then I could still potentially get those, or they're just a
Yeah.
limited edition.
No, I don't think they're limited. That's not what they told me, at least.
Okay.
And if you started, if nothing has changed drastically since I started at the beginning of the year, you probably wouldn't notice an issue until months and months down the road. Like I said, it was like 20, 21 issues before I started skipping around.
They have a bunch of ships. They have the Bajoran
Oh yeah,
Solar Sailor.
yes, I have that. That's one of the coolest ones one of the coolest things I've ever had. I love it.
I love that episode.
When I was a kid, I loved the Micro Machines, little tiny like plastic ships.
Yeah.
I had tons of them, and these are just so much more detailed and bigger, and obviously like they're more models and collector's items than they were. They were toys, and these go into the deep dive. Like they find deep cut ships that have never been produced like that before, like the Bajoran Solar Sailor and the Mainline freighter, the Krenim ship from Voyager, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
That
they've got Neelix's ship on here.
yep, yeah, everything. I'm convinced that by the time they're done, there won't be a single thing. Like there will not be a ship that you saw on screen that wasn't produced.
Yeah, I mean they have like the Borg tactical ship, and it's just like crazy.
They're great. Highly recommend them to anybody that's interested. They're a little pricey once you get into them, but they're great. They're really really cool collector's items. And if you love the ships, you're gonna love them because they're so detailed.
Yeah, yeah, they're definitely talking about. They're talking about the Enterprise J.
Mm-hmm.
I have, I have a confession to make. I don't like the Enterprise J. I don't like it at all. Um,
Maybe that would change if you had a
yeah.
metal version of it sitting on your desk.
Or if I go through Enterprise again, see. Yeah, I don't know. It's just.
It won't. That won't change it.
Yeah.
It's so brief. You see it on a schematic on a wall. Like it's not. I've never been a huge fan either. I mean, maybe my opinion would change if I had a physical Enterprise J sitting on my desk and I could look at it all the time.
Yeah.
And I'll gladly take it in the collection.
Hmm.
But my memory of it isn't isn't that it's like my favorite ship.
Yeah, Rob, I can't get into Star Trek Online. Played Armada religiously when it first came out. I love Star Trek Online. I got out of it because it's kind of like time consuming, but I don't know. I like Star Trek Online. So if any online fans, I'd love to meet you guys in game. That'd be fun. Maybe we can kind of organize kind of Trek Live meetup.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Didn't know that they ended Mac support, Jordan. That stinks.
Oh, I know that it was kind of big when it first came out. I was like, oh, Mac, and then they ended it.
Hmm. Oh, really cool. I just saw that you said that you have some of those micro machines. Those things were great. I had a ton of them. I went through them like candy. Um, I didn't eat them, but I played with them until
Yeah.
they were beat up to the point where I needed new ones. Um, Still on PC. Yeah, I've played it a little bit. I've done here and there. Um, STO.
Yeah.
Never. I think I'm level 21. I want to say. Um, like Dan said, it's just time consuming.
Hmm.
It's intimidating to me just because it requires a commitment to
Yeah,
like
that's for sure.
get a lot out of it. Um, I would like to do it.
Yeah. If you guys are serious about it, definitely let us know on Twitter and maybe we can meet up somewhere. I don't
Yeah,
know if you guys are down, but it could be fun.
yeah, I'm down. I am down.
Yeah, me too.
Jordan, you just can't win. That stinks. No matter what you do, they just don't want you playing STO. It's board games. I have a stack of old board games sitting in a closet somewhere. Um, I have that VHS. I have a VHS one with Gowron on the cover. I don't think I ever played it. It's something Star Trek Klingon something, um, and something else. I haven't looked at them in a long time, but
Yeah.
I do have a couple, and I haven't played many. Um, I do have a really cool Star Trek trivia book, like an interactive book. You hit a button at the bottom, like on this metal or plastic like interactive thing. I don't know. It gives you, there's like 2,500 questions in the book, and it gives you a number. You go to the number, and it gives you the question, and it's multiple choice. I love that. I play that all the time.
Yeah, I can't say I have played any board games or anything like that. But I'd like to, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Problem with Star Trek board games for me has been that I don't have anybody to play them with. Like I don't have. My
Conventions.
real life friends are. What's that?
Conventions you have to get down or
Yeah.
get some people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. My real life friends are lame and don't like Star Trek. So it's my challenge.
Hmm. Yeah, Ross, wait till you graduate, because then, yeah, you don't want to get sucked into that when you're almost there.
Anything's possible, Rob. Especially with this format with Trek After Dark. I don't want to speak for Dan too much, but I think we're pretty open to pretty much anything for this. Uh, you know,
Mm-hmm. Pretty much anything.
a lot of things are on the table. It's got to work. Practically in this kind of format. But if we can figure out a way to make it work, I think we're down.
Yeah.
Trivia is easy. We could come up with a way to do trivia at some point.
Yeah, just have someone write the questions and then have someone to kind of ask the questions, like a moderator, and then everyone else can kind of
take the shot.
Take a shot at it. Mm-hmm.
The Star Trek Book of Opposites. I've never seen that before. That's new. Didn't know it existed. That's cool. That was actually going to be my next question. How many of you guys have read like Star Trek novels? I never really have. I've read a handful, but it hasn't been my thing. So I'm curious if you've read a bunch, you're really into it. Let me know. Let us know. Have you, Dan? Have you read many?
I've read any? Only one, and I'm definitely looking to get into them. Especially just once I kind of, I don't know. It's tough to, because it's like a super intimidating, like, kind of world to jump into, because there's just so much stuff, and like people always say, it's just jump in anywhere. Just kind of like the Star Trek universe, but it is intimidating. But I'd like to, because interested for new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of been my thing too. The ones that stand out to me as the ones I would really like to get into are the ones that kind of continue the stories on. Like I know Enterprise and DS9 and Voyager all have the continuations in the novel form, but they're pretty big series that I guess kind of interconnect, and it is intimidating. It's intimidating to me at least, and there are also like numbered novels. They're called numbered novels that came out while the shows were running mostly, that are pretty standalone, that kind of just take place in the middle of the show, and it's just like an unseen episode in the form of a novel. They intrigue me to a certain extent, but there's so many of them, it's hard to pick. Like my dad has a ton of them, so I'll look at like his shelf, and I just kind of stare at it and wind up getting like I don't even know what to do, and I walk away. There's just so many choices, it's hard to narrow down.
Yeah, I'd like to start maybe with Voyager, since I just the continuation of that.
Rob has read Mosaic. Is Mosaic? I know there's two that are like that. Maybe you've already said it. I'm just behind. But Mosaic, is that the one that is all about Janeway's backstory, or is it the one that is all about everybody else's backstory? I know that they do that. And I think Jerry Taylor wrote them, right? Who wrote for Voyager a lot, co-creator, executive producer.
The Star Trek Mosaic. Yeah, because if you guys have any tips or anything like that, let's definitely share them, because I'm definitely.
Please do. Rob suggested A Stitch in Time. I know what that one is. That's Garak. That's like Garak's story. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Andrew Robinson, who played Garak, wrote it. So that one's definitely intriguing to me. That's on my list for sure, that I would love to read someday. And Rob says, yeah, Mosaic is Janeway's backstory. Hey, Ross, thank you for coming. Appreciate it, man. I know it's late for you. We definitely appreciate the dedication and taking the time out of your night.
Ross. I'll see you hopefully on Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah. for the finales.
Spock's World and Prime Directive. Yeah, Spock's World and Prime Directive are two big ones. Popular choices, I should say. Jordan said Star Trek Destiny is pretty great. It's a trilogy that I think, Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong, but that takes place after Nemesis, right? I think. Yeah, post Nemesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff. A lot of cool choices for folks like us. Problem is, like I said, there's so many that it's hard to pick.
Yeah.
Which is honestly why I'm notorious for, at least people who know me, like I'm a completionist. I have to start at the beginning of everything and just do it. Like when I watch Star Trek, I have to start at the pilot. Like I start with Broken Bow because I start with Enterprise whenever I do it, and I just have to like bang through it and watch it all. I can't. I go crazy if I try to skip around, pick random.
Yeah.
Yeah, I end up just staring and not picking anything and moving on to something else. So my system in my head, whether it's Star Trek or something else, I have to kind of just do it. I have to just dive in and do the whole thing, which is not feasible with the books, which is probably why I haven't delved totally into them yet.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to Discovery real quick, I just want to point this out because we'll be live before then for the Trek Live episode next week. But May 17th is the date of the CBS Upfronts, which is like their big promo for their slate for the fall. So there's a pretty good chance that there's going to be some Discovery stuff that day. I certainly have no idea. It's a guess. But it's an educated guess. That would be the logical time for them to show something. Who knows if it would actually be a trailer or what? But circle May 17th on your calendar and make sure you check Star Trek news sites that day because there might be stuff that day.
Yeah, I'm hoping they post something. Which
Yeah.
I could see them just posting or just showing the trailer that they already posted.
That would infuriate people.
Yeah, that would.
People would be very angry.
Yeah.
But something. I'm certainly. I'm not expecting to see detailed footage, completed stuff. This is what the pilot's about. I'm certainly not expecting that, but I'm hoping that it's a good day to show something and get people excited. Just a tease. Supposedly they have 2, maybe 3 episodes in the can done, so they should have some stuff to pull from to throw something together. And the next big time, I guess the next big venue to show something, I guess would be Comic-Con in July. But in my head, that's kind of late if you're aiming to premiere in September, October. Yeah, it's not a lot of time to ramp up. Now would be a good time to start, I think. Destiny has 3 stories running simultaneously: Picard on the E, Riker on the Titan, post Nemesis, and Captain Hernandez in the time between Enterprise and Nemesis. Interesting. Captain Hernandez of the NX-02, memory serves, which is cool. That's intriguing to me. How many of them have you read, Jordan? Like, are you? What do you think the overall goal of Discovery should be? Just reboot the franchise like 09 or start of a new Star Trek connected universe? That's a big question.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Huh. I don't want them to just reboot the franchise. We've already done that not too long ago, and it's not. I don't look at 09 like a complete reboot. It's more than that, and I accept it as more than that. But I don't know. The simple answer is I hope it's. I kind of said this last week, but I hope it's legitimate, good-hearted, true Star Trek. Like, if it's that, I'll take whatever else comes with it. I hope
Yeah.
it's. I hope it.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
not. Well, I don't think we're looking for a reboot. It,
No.
I just think we're just looking for fresh new Star Trek because the last show definitely left a bad taste in our mouths. So we'd like to
Wait a minute.
see
What are you
some.
saying? Didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, no, it just.
I know what you're saying.
But you were happy for. But you were sad that they canceled it.
I was very sad that they
Yeah,
canceled
so
it.
you kind of have a. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but I have kind of. I don't know, reservations for rest in peace Enterprise, I guess. So I'm hoping to kind of, you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
Hoping for something better than, and I don't want it to end like Enterprise did.
I agree. I'm hoping that I guess I hope that it hits the ground running faster than Enterprise did,
Yeah.
faster than any
It's
of the
gonna
shows
have
did.
to.
It's gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today's environment doesn't allow for let's take 2 seasons to really get going. You know, by season 3 we'll really be like a good show now.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly. It's got to be good right away.
Yeah, I hope the Discovery is prime timeline.
It is prime time. Yeah. I hope it capitalizes on TOS, but isn't too tied to it. You know, like I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be canon porn. Like I don't want it to be just doing everything it can to tie into every little corner of TOS. But I hope there are echoes of it enough where you know where it's set. You know TOS is kind of knocking on the door. It's just a few years off. I don't want it to be, as much as I love Enterprise season 4. You know, a valid kind of criticism of Enterprise season 4 is that it tries too hard to be canon porn. You know, to tie into all kinds of stuff all at once. I don't think it should feel that pressure. It shouldn't need to do that all the time.
Yeah, Rob just brought up Axanar, and I would love to do an episode on Axanar because I'm very passionate about that.
Mm-hmm.
About Axanar.
It's a big topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it I honestly I don't know what they're doing right now. I don't know. I kind of disconnected a little bit. I was following it pretty closely way back before all the controversy started. But you know, CBS and Paramount came down with pretty restrictive guidelines for fan productions.
Which Axanar falls under. So
Yeah.
They just kind of got, I don't know, got the stranglehold of the corporate people because they made too good of a film, evidently.
Yeah, I think they went. Yeah, I think that's really what it kind of was. I think they were pushing the envelope towards professional, quality stuff.
Yeah.
That it freaked them out and it made them.
Which is understandable because I mean, technically and legally, they do have the rights to that. So
it is. It's just a really unfortunate situation. I respect. I get where CBS is coming from to an extent. Like it is their intellectual property, and they can do what they want with it. And they can set whatever limits they want. But the 10 years of no Star Trek stuff anywhere was kind of filled by, other than these 3 movies that we got, with some pretty high quality, and not everything was certainly like good, but some pretty good Star Trek fan stuff. and it gave the fans and something to latch onto and some new content every so often. I certainly really enjoy Star Trek Continues. I enjoyed Prelude to Axanar.
Yeah,
Um,
was cool.
I can't say that I watched everything else. There's not a whole lot else that I really like seeked out or remember watching. But I didn't have a problem with it. It was fans expressing their love for it, and I think it was coming from a positive place. I don't think they were doing it to take advantage or make money. This is an independent film right here. um, so I get it. I understand it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I wish there was a way to go back in time to, maybe make Axanar like take a few steps back to not push the envelopes quite so hard, and maybe I don't think we wouldn't. I don't think we'd be in this position where nobody can do anything. Although maybe not. Maybe I don't want to speak for. I have no idea. But maybe this would have happened either way. Now that CBS is gearing up to do its own thing, maybe it has less to do with Axanar and more to do with they're going to be putting out their own original content. And they don't want fan productions.
Yeah, who knows what
infringing? Who knows exactly? But it's a topic that we could easily fill an hour plus talking about.
Go in on it for sure. Yeah, Rob's talking about Battlestar Galactica. The reboot is amazing.
Yes,
he is not lying.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, has the stream been okay recently? I haven't seen anybody.
It's been still choppy.
Really?
Yeah, which is really frustrating for me.
It's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I don't know. Hopefully we'll figure out when to stop streaming, but
Yeah.
see how it turned out. But definitely next time I'll record it so this can stay on my computer and then be uploaded to YouTube, so then it'll be fine. But I'm worried that it'll be choppy once we.
Yeah.
Do we have like a time limit? Time limit. We have a time limit that we want to do with the Trek After Dark, or is there one? You think?
I don't know. For as long as it's worth doing, I guess. I mean, yeah. Some will be longer than others, I'm sure. Yeah, Jordan, it's definitely not on your end.
No,
I wouldn't worry about that.
End.
It's a bigger issue than that. Heading out every 5-10 minutes for like 10 seconds. It's not quite as bad as I was thinking it was.
Yeah.
Just based on what I was hearing before, but that's. Jordan, I'm curious, since you're still here and you're like really into Enterprise right now, watched a lot of it in the past couple of days. Who's your favorite character in Enterprise? Who's your favorite character, Dan, from what you remember?
Trip.
Trip?
Yep.
That was an easy answer.
Yeah. This is, I don't know why, but I always love the engineers. And kind of like the people that make the ship, kind of like behind the scenes people, for sure. And I guess that kind of ties back to my just, my experience in film and stuff, that I have appreciation for the guys
Doing the hard work.
making things happen. So I really like the engineers. Yeah, for sure. Or, I mean, not the engineers, but kind of not like the captain or besides Kirk, but it's mostly just the lower level people that I like.
Yeah.
What about you? Just in general, is your favorite character for Enterprise? Or can you? Is it like naming your favorite kids?
It is like naming my favorite kid. Um, I like all three of the big three.
Yeah,
Archer, T'Pol, Trip. I like Phlox a lot.
yeah.
If I had to pick one, I'd probably have to say Trip. I think he's the most consistently good. Um, but I also really like T'Pol a lot. Every time I go back to it, I like T'Pol more. I like how
Mm-hmm.
slowly but surely T'Pol kind of naturally assimilates into, you know, accepting living with humans.
Yeah.
I've heard one of my favorite, I guess the coolest way I've ever heard that put was, I'm sure most people in here probably are familiar with Trek FM. Um, and I've heard Christopher Jones, who's the man behind Trek FM, who created it and hosts a number of the shows. In the past, I remember him talking about T'Pol, and he grew up in the United States, went to college in the United States, and now lives in Japan. And he talked about relating to T'Pol going through that experience, because when he moved from the United States to Japan, he felt that like very slow assimilation, very gradually kind of became Japanese. And I think T'Pol, you kind of see that they don't rush it. I think somewhere in the middle of the first two seasons, she slowly kind of accepts living on that ship and accepts everything that humanity brings. I don't know. I just really buy her arc. I think it's really well done. I think she's really good at slowly melting the ice. It's not sudden. It's not like one episode she's, down with living with them
Yeah,
and
it's like a gradual.
being a part of the family. It's very gradual. It's very slowly. It's a slow burn. I think it's really credibly done.
Yeah. Also, shout out to actually Chris Jones for kind of getting me back behind the mic. I know he's
Yes,
had some health issues, but we're definitely glad to have him back. I'm
definitely.
an avid listener of the Ready Room, so I'm really happy for him that he's back for sure.
Me too.
And if you guys
Me
don't
too.
know about Trek FM, definitely go check it out because it's a
Yes.
uh,
Network.
great network. Yes.
There's new Star Trek content in podcast form pretty much daily if you follow them.
Mm-hmm.
Hope says Phlox. Rob says Phlox or Reed.
Some Reed love there.
Some Reed love is interesting.
Yeah.
Jordan says Trip. He thinks Trip.
Yeah, Trip best.
Yeah, Trip's character arc, especially in season 3, is quite something. Really well done.
You guys are starting to make me get excited for Enterprise, actually.
Hey.
Especially, yeah. Yeah, I'm also, I will listen to, yeah, Rob, I listen to the Journey also. Yeah. It's just because I like to, like, let's say, like, I'm going through Voyager, I like to listen to the actual Voyager podcast.
Sure.
And then once I go into Enterprise, I'll probably switch to.
Work 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see what you think of Enterprise. I think I think second time around, some of the more serialized stuff that comes later, knowing how it ends, like already, not having those expectations, not I don't know, just knowing what you're getting into and taking a fresh look at it, with eyes wide open, I guess, is going to be interesting to hear.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I know I'm gonna be. I know I'm gonna find things that I love about it, obviously, but then I'm gonna go into like frustrated mode and start.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
But
know you will.
I'm also
This needs
like
to be.
curious to see what kind of novels and stuff like that they have, so they could maybe help kind of fill in the gaps. But um, we'll just see where that goes for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had any experience with novels, Enterprise novels, but
I know they're. I know what they are. Like I know they exist, and I know kind of what they do.
yeah,
I know they explore the the Romulan War and founding of the Federation, and
hmm,
um, they take some corrective action, I guess you could say,
yeah.
in response to the finale. Um, but I don't know. I don't know.
You just mentioned the finale, and now I'm just picturing uh, the finale.
Yeah, not a pleasant sight.
No.
Um, it's I don't know the details. I don't know what it exactly does, but I know they shake things up with that. They
Yeah.
um, Hope. I kind of like Reed. I kind of agree with Rob. He's not a I wouldn't list him as a favorite, but I kind of like his weird mix of like all business, um, all business, no nonsense, duty, but socially awkward. But he kind of slowly too, kind of like DePaul, grows into his own skin and gets a little more vocal and I don't know, becomes more of an individual, I guess.
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's kind of underrated.
Yeah, I think is underrated because like just from the first, just like kind of remembering back to when I first watched it, I remembered like I was like, this guy is gonna need 7 seasons to develop. He's
Yeah,
not like one of those characters that can instantly be.
a
So
classic
which
character.
I've been really curious to see like where that character would have went with 7 seasons. So
Mm-hmm.
not just Enterprise as a whole, but also the character.
Especially, yeah, with some of the stuff they started introducing towards the end in season 4. I don't want to say too much because Jordan's trying to get there.
Yeah.
He's watching it. But they definitely introduced some colors into Reed's character towards the end there. That could have been played out a lot more over time and would have just added a lot more. I think 3 more seasons would have just helped Reed a lot. Everybody, all those characters, I think would have benefited from more time, but Reed especially because of they kind of were just towards the end there finding a whole new dimension to him. Um, that would have been interesting to see play out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see.
Yeah, Rob, if you're down, I don't want to make any promises, but tonight I might start Enterprise. So
It's
we'll
early there still. You got time.
we'll see kind of what happens. Um, yeah, and I'm definitely gonna. I know about the Star Trek Hour on Twitter. I'm definitely gonna pop in there because there's definitely a lot of fans in there. So I'm definitely gonna see what they have to say and stuff like that. Maybe kind of recruit some um, Trek Live crew members. So
Yeah, I've been meaning to check it out. It's a little tough for me, Rob, just timing wise. I know it's like, isn't it Tuesday afternoons? At least my time. Um, I tend to see a lot of activity on Twitter, either as I'm leaving work or as I'm getting home from work, if memory serves.
mhm.
So it's a little tough for me to get really dove into it. Um, but if the opportunity presents itself, I'm totally down. I'm always down to talk Star Trek. Um, New people, old people that I know, doesn't matter to me. I'm happy to do it.
Mhm. Hope's gonna thinking about hitting up Voyager. Yeah,
Can't go wrong with Voyager.
yeah, it'd be perfect because I'm just about to finish it, and Bill's kind of in the thick of things, so it'd be
Yeah,
definitely a good move for sure.
yeah. I think I like Voyager more every time I do it. Every time I go back to it,
Hmm.
I think I I don't know. I think less about things that I wish it was, and just kind of accept it for what it is, and embrace what I like about it. And I don't know. The characters are so, at least a lot of them are really.